There's been a significant spike in domestic violence during the coronavirus pandemic, and now a United Nations report is warning that the number of cases could increase. The report says 6 months of stay-at-home measures to stop the spread of COVID-19 could lead to 31 million more cases of domestic violence around the world. A United Nations official called it a growing crisis within the crisis. For more of this, I want to bring in Haley Ott. She's a CBS News reporter who joins me now from London. So, Haley, why is the United Nations saying that we could see this increase in domestic violence as we're locked down with coronavirus?
Hi, Rena. So lockdowns are great ways to stop the spread of disease. They allow out of the population, they keep them behind closed doors, they stop people from meeting up with one another and potentially getting one another sick. But what they also do is, if you're in an abusive household or a potentially abusive household, they trap you. So what the United Nations is pointing out is that these lockdown measures, while they're doing a good job of stopping the spread of the coronavirus, are exacerbating these abusive situations.
Are there specific areas that we're seeing in this report where domestic violence is just more prevalent?
You know, before the outbreak of the coronavirus, before the global pandemic, domestic abuse was also a global issue. And we're seeing reports of spikes in domestic violence and abuse around the world. We're seeing reports in Wuhan, where the coronavirus first sprang up. We're seeing them all over Europe, the United States. In the UK, where I am in London, police in London just said that they've received a third more calls related to domestic abuse over the 6 weeks of our lockdown than they had previously, and they've made over 4,000 arrests. So domestic abuse is really a global issue, and spikes in response to the coronavirus pandemic is global as well.
Does this report address what's being done to help this situation? You know, what measures are activists saying could make a difference?
You know, I spoke to the deputy director of the UN agency that published this report, and he said that really this is them sounding the alarm. It's very early in many countries' lockdowns, so they just want to point out that this is and will continue to have a really significant effect on rates of domestic abuse. He said that what we should continue to do is make sure that frontline staff are able to do their work. The activists and the domestic abuse service providers that I spoke to, all that they'd been facing funding crunch before this crisis began, and they're worried about funding drying up even further as it continues. They're also worried about, as lockdowns lift, women or victims and survivors might flee situations that have become abusive in higher numbers, so that they're worried that they may be overwhelmed even after these lockdowns are over. So the emphasis is on continuing to support these frontline organizations.
Fascinating to see, even when the pandemic is over, that there's still so much work to be done. I want to thank you very much, Haley Ott, for joining us from London.